Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuhu. Good evening, viewers. Good evening, Gambians. Juma Mubarak to all of you. First of all, I will start by thanking our youths, those in the Gambia and those in the diaspora. The just ended elections that took place in the Gambia, the youth has participated fully and then contributed to the campaign. The youths in the Gambia turned out in their numbers to support the coalition government or the coalition party. They follow the party to the length and breadth of the country in the Gambia. And those in the diaspora also took to social media like WhatsApp, Facebook, to contact their parents or their relatives back home in the Gambia to vote for the coalition. So I think this is an open secret to we all know, and then I want to thank the coalition government, President Adama Barrow, and some of the members for coming out clearly and also saying in very clear terms how the youth folk participated and contributed towards the victory. Yesterday, we had an announcement from the representative of the European Union, which is a very welcome development. About 75 million euros was basically announced on different sectors. This is a great achievement for the Barrow government, and I think it will go a long way in developing all the sectors of society that the money is intended for. Our discussion today basically will center on that of the youth empowerment project, which would be tailor-made at least to create employment for the youth folk. But before I get into my own idea as to, I'm not saying what the government should do, but the areas that I think that need to be tapped or that are untapped. Before I get into that discussion, I would rather first want to clarify something that is kind of worrying a lot of young people in the diaspora, more so those who came to Europe through the back way. I've got a lot of messages from our brothers and our sisters in Italy, in Germany, and other European countries, Austria, saying that they are very worried that the money that was being signed, or the project that was being signed yesterday between the government of the Gambia and the European Union, is meant or probably that's what they think, that that money is meant to entice the coalition government to accept or in accepting deportation of Gambians from Europe. This is something that needs to be cleared. I think even the coalition need to come out to clear this because it's a misconception that a lot of people, a lot of our young people who have worked tirelessly day and night to make sure that Yaya Jammeh's government is booted out. They use their little resources and time to call their people back home to make sure that they vote for the coalition government. So if this thing is like they feel a little bit disappointed that if at all this money is meant for enticing the Barrow government to accepting deportees from Europe. Well, that is not the case, if I might say it in very clear terms. I listened to the narration of the European Union representative, and he said it in very clear language. In fact, the money is meant for a lot of sectors. The money is meant for rural development, food security. It's meant for rule of law, democracy, human rights, and also youth development. There is also an aspect of making sure or coping, if you like, curtailing, should say, the migration of young people from Gambia to Europe in search of greener pastures. That is very different from deporting people from Europe or failed asylum seekers from Europe. Just what I want to make clear is that the money that is given to the government in the Gambia is not meant for that purpose. It is purely for social development in the Gambia for Gambians. And one thing I need to make clear also, if, for example, European countries want to deport failed asylum seekers, that will be done by the countries themselves. EU is not a country. EU is a combination of countries, over 27 countries in Europe. That's what consists of EU. And in some of these countries, immigrants are not going to some of these countries in the EU. They are going to just few countries, that is mainly Italy, Germany, Austria, and the like, Spain. So these are the countries that are affected. If there would be any form of deportees or kind of that scheme, it will be individual countries that will have an agreement with the Gambia or any other country that is affected. So, for example, if, for example, in Germany, there are a lot of Syrian and Afghanistan refugees, if Germany wants to deport those people back to Afghanistan, it will not be negotiated by EU. It will be negotiated by Germany and Afghanistan, country to country, rather than region. EU is kind of when you say AU or when you say ECOWAS. So I want to make this clear because a lot of our young people in Italy and other places are really disturbed. They are not very quiet, so they are not clear as to what. Because we've seen this before. Yaya Jammeh accepted some money from, I think, Spain, if I could recall, for the Gambians to be deported. And that money then went into his pocket because nobody have seen where that money been to, what development projects that money was invested on. So definitely that was a failure, and then those people came to Gambia and then they suffered. We all know what these backway people went through. Some of the stories, we've all seen them on our television screens, and some of them were narrated by they themselves. So we kind of sympathize their situation. But I just want to make this clarification that the money that was signed or the projects that are signed by the government is not meant for enticing our government to accepting deportees from Europe. This is something that I just want to make very clear. And in the deliberation, it has not been mentioned. Normally, arrangements like this, they will say it clearly and said, yes, this is meant for this purpose. One thing has been said, which is for the youth, employment of youths, and which is logical. They will create employment so that to discourage many youths from taking the back way, because a lot of our youths are going through the back way for in search of greener pastures. So if we can create job opportunities in the Gambia, and those greener pastures can be found in the Gambia, then I don't think people will take the risk of crossing the Mediterranean Sea in search of greener pastures. So that's the idea. I want to make that clear before we get into our discussion. This is very important for our guys to understand. So to conclude, if this is going to happen, it will be between country to country, rather than EU doing that with the Gambia government. So our brothers in Italy, our brothers in Germany, our brothers in Austria, Spain, Greece, and also some in other European countries, this is the clarification that so far I can do for now. I know the money is not meant for to deport you guys back to the Gambia. If that is going to happen at all, it will have to be negotiated between those particular countries, for example, between Italy and the Gambia, Germany and the Gambia, or Austria or Greece and the Gambia. It wouldn't be done by the whole bloc of the EU. Okay, away from that, the projects that was signed, or the money that was given, the grant was given to Gambia is 75 million, but that 75 million euros is broke down into different sectors. I want to look into the youth sector, that's the youth empowerment project, rather than getting into all of it. The youth empowerment project is a fantastic initiative that the government want to pursue. Come to think of it, Gambia, statistically, we have a youthful population. We have more young people than the seniors, if you like. For that being the case, if we create more employment for our young people, the economy will grow, the standard of living will also grow, and the middle class in the Gambia will also increase. There has been a lot of investment in the youths in previous government. Well, I would say that's what we've been told, but we could not see the results of that. The results has been not been very good, because if at all it had impact, when I said impact, good impact, we would not have seen a mass number of our young people trying to cross the Sahara Desert, or also cross the Mediterranean, trying to go to Europe. So I think now this new youth empowerment project should be meaningful. The project should not be a white elephant. Therefore, I think we need to look at it carefully and see some of the areas that are not tapped in our economy, to invest in those areas so that these youth people, our young people, will get meaningful employment into those industries. If you look at the areas that are on tap in our country, they are many and varied. But I want to concentrate on very few areas that I think could create jobs right away with few investment, or with little investment, because these are potential areas that young people can can engage in, and then basically have a meaningful employment in. One of the area is food processing and for example, production side. A lot of our fruits, for example, mango and orange, we have a lot of mangoes and orange in the Gambia, and most of these sometimes there no storage, good storage facilities, they all perish. During the mango season, we could see that a lot of mangoes are not preserved. And as a result, a good number of them are lost to basically we lose a very good number of them, and that the same thing applies for the oranges as well, and also some of the other fruits that we grow in the Gambia. I think what might create, in my view, employment for the young people would be that of creating a factory, maybe a juice processing factory. A juice processing factory has the potential of employing around about 1,000 people. In my estimation, 1,000 youths could be employed, and then what will then happen? That will also create another job opportunity for the mango growers. The plantation, the people who have mango plantation, especially along the Combo area. A lot of people have these mango plantation farms, but they normally sell these things to Senegalese. and then the Senegalese then also take it to Senegal, process it, make it into juice, and that juice is sold in the Gambia. Thereby, our economy, we are helping, our raw material is helping to grow another country's economy. That could be avoided by us having our own factory, whereby our mangoes, and with our good storage facilities, all the mangoes that are grown in the Gambia can be consumed, but also excess of it can also be processed into mango juice, which can also be sold in the Gambia, and also be exported to our neighboring countries like Senegal, Guinea-Bissau. And this will create a lot of employment for our young people. Orange is the same. A lot of oranges, we export a lot of orange to Senegal as well. Senegalese people will come, those again in the Combo areas, because we have a lot of plantation owners, orange plantation owners in that area. Senegalese people will come during the orange season, buy them, take it to Senegal, process it, and then the orange juice is then sent back here. Again, if we have a juice processing factory, just like the mango, these things also could also be processed in the Gambia and then consumed in the Gambia, and the excess of it can then be exported back to the neighboring countries. You can even have a mixture of orange and juice together. I know the government is thinking about this, but this has been said for quite a time. 22 years, Yaya Jammeh was saying it never happened. So again, we are having we have this fund, and then it's meant for youth empowerment, which is purely for creating employment for the young people. These things are there. They've not been tapped. They've not been explored. So therefore, we are trying to remind the government that it has been said, it's not new, but something has to be done. Another area that also need to be tapped is tradesmanship. So, for example, mechanics and also carpenters, builders. This is an area that that has not been explored very well. We have GTTI, the Technical Training Center, that a lot of people go to and learn. I think GTTI need to be revamped. We need to have the state-of-art technology, machines, so that our young people are trained in the modern techniques of tradesmanship, for example. If you take an example in Senegal, sometimes you go to a garage, just a garage, a mechanic garage, one person employing around about 50 people or 100 people, and that's a private individual. It's not even a government scheme. So we can have that in the Gambia. Again, if you go to our garages in the Gambia, a lot of them, quite a number of them are Senegalese. Gambian people can do this job. It's just that sometimes they don't have the training. So if we formalize these things for them to, like, for example, those who want to pursue the technical part of education, even from primary school or from high school or senior secondary school, they can specialize in these things. When they graduate from grade 12, they can then go to tertiary institute and learn the trade, then thereby making it as a career. Because these are income generating schemes. They will earn employment for the person, or even the person can be self-employed when he or she prefer to open his own business. This is another area that has not been explored very well, and then it can again employ a lot of young people who might desire to go into fields like that. If you talk about that, people might say, okay, but there is no funding. So, for example, if you finish your training, you want to set up your own workshop, you might not have funds, or you might not have materials, if you like, or tools to do your work. This is another thing that the government could do, which is either collaborate with the commercial banks to create what I called the youth fund. The youth fund can also be like the social development fund. We used to have that in the Gambia, social development fund, which is also distributed to communities in the Gambia to use the fund with very, very low interest rate, to use the fund to venture into different projects for their livelihood. The same can be done for the youths. Either government create a special bank or use some of the commercial banks and then or have a collaboration with some of the commercial banks to create a fund. You can name it the youth fund, whatever name you give it, doesn't matter. But the essence, what I'm trying to say here is for that fund to be there, to be loaned to our young people who have a business plan. It wouldn't be any young people turning up at the bank and then asking for money. It would be we must have a business plan, and then that business plan then will qualify you whether you merit to have the fund or not. Whether you, with at least a little bit of collateral guarantee, somebody guaranteeing you, or you yourself guarantee yourself by whatever means that might be the requirement. What I'm trying to say here is if the young people have the skills, they have the knowledge, for them to be able to operate, for them to be able to at least set up their factory, or sorry, their garage, for example, because it could be anything, a carpentry workshop or a garage, they need some fund. So at least this is another area that the government or these funds can also be used to help them. Also, we have the Department of State for Youth and Sports, and I know they engage in a lot of entrepreneurship training and things like that, which is going on right now. I think they also have a part in this, which is to help this establish young businesses, to kind of give them advice, business advice, and then help them sometimes even diversify their area of production. If you look into spare parts as well, selling of spare parts, if you go to Gambia, I've been to Gambia and I've seen that also is dominated by foreigners. Nigerians are the ones selling spare parts and some of the second-hand things. And these Nigerians that are involved in this, they are basically young, they are the youth people. So I see no reason why our young people could not also explore in this. Again, they need business training. They have to understand how to operate a business. All these things are very vital for our youths to gain employment. The offices are not enough. Formal employment, what I mean by that, white-collar jobs are not enough in the Gambia for all the youths to be employed. So the only area that is not being tapped is basically what I am saying here. Another area that we need to look into is the fishing industry. The fishing industry again is dominated by foreigners. It's the Senegalese again that are basically doing fishing in the Gambia. They're the ones that go to do fishing and then come and sell it back to us. Some of the fish is also then taken to Senegal. That's why fish is very expensive in our country. Again, this is an area that the government can intervene and encourage the young people to venture into. So it is very important that area is also explored so that our young people then can be attracted, if you like, to engage in this kind of projects. I think what can be done in the area of fishing is I have got two suggestions, which is one, either government, that might sound a bit big or maybe too ambiguous, can have big fishing boats, fishing trawlers, and then basically have a social contract with the young people, which could be used then, and young people can then, there can be a scheme, young people can go on fishing, and then that could also, that money could be paid back to the government gradually. By the time that trawler, the money of that fishing trawler is been paid, I think it would be then good for the young people to own that and then form their own cooperative, whereby they will control their own, basically they will control their own means of production, be it fishing boats or fishing trolleys. So all these things could be done, but it's not just by saying it, it's like practicalizing the theory. That is what our problem is in the Gambia. We all have good ideas, but when it comes to implementation, it's always a problem. That is another area that we could very well explore. Another area that also need to be looked at is livestock industry. For example, Gambia is a Muslim country. During the Tobaski prayers, we all see how people, line up to get a ram or a sheep or a goat, whatever, in order to fulfill that Islamic ritual. This is another area that could also be an employment for our young people. What we need to do is just to formalize it. Countries like Nigeria, they're doing things like this. And animal husbandry, poultry is another area that we need to explore. If you look at it, a lot of our chicken is coming out from the country. It's coming outside of the country, if I may say. And then come to think of it, even the taste, it doesn't taste the way that our own homegrown ones taste. For example, the free range tastes better than the ones that are been imported in our country. So all these areas could also be explored. All we need to do is for us to engage the experts to expand this business for proper training, and also to have a scientific department. For example, we did have NARI that looked into our rice production and things like that. The animal husbandry also, we can have a scientific unit which can help in crossbreeding, helping us to crossbreed so that some of these animals that we have can grow faster, and then also can then see fattening, can put up a lot of weight if you like. All these things can be done. These are areas that are not tapped. I'm not saying the government, these are areas that this new government should get into, but I'm just highlighting areas that are not tapped by the previous government. And then in my view, all these areas can create a lot of jobs for our young people. Another area is farming. When we say farming in the Gambia, a lot of people think it's just groundnut farming. But rice, Gambia, we consume rice. Rice is our staple food. We consume rice more than any other food, basically. So I think, and then if you look at it from Bansang, from CRD down to the Basse end, is all is saltwater free. All these areas could have whole year-round rice production. Or we can even have machines that can then neutralize the salinity of our waters. Irrigation is another area that we can explore. And this is another area that can also earn employment for our young people. It is not in Gambia, a lot of people that are engaged in rice production are our moms and dads. It shouldn't be like that. You go to China, and those who are doing commercial farming in America, in other places, it is not the old, it is in fact the rich and wealthy that are involved in this. And this is at this point, I will also try to call on our business people in the Gambia, because what I've observed in the Gambia, the business people, they don't invest in things like this. All they invest in is just maybe real estate, building houses. That's good. That's very good. Some are into importing and exporting. That's what they normally do. But investing on some of our local industries is lacking. And for our economy to grow, and for us to sustain the growth of our economy and also to create employment, this is the areas that we need to look into. We need to look into manufacturing. We need to look into, industries like the ones that I've just listed. We need to look into apprenticeship, whereby, if people finish school, they can go and for attachment to some of these areas, like, for example, NAWEC or the Gambia Technical, whatever, the government mechanic group. I just don't know their name, but basically people know what I'm trying to say. To learn the trade, that is also very well. If you cannot do that, then GTTI is there for you to go and learn the trade. All these areas are places that we can expand, and then for us to help our young people learn the skills to be able to be useful in society, and then to be able to at least do their own business. I think these are the areas that I have thought about that this new project can look into or can look at, and if they do the right things, I think the youths are going to be attracted to get into it, to venture into this kind of business. My advice to the young people also is one thing to say, yes, we don't have jobs, the government is not helping us. That's one thing to say that. But it's also another thing to be ready to take up the challenge, because not all of us can sit in offices. Obviously, the offices are the population is far more bigger than the number of workplaces that are available. So therefore, we have to diversify. We have to do certain things. And then it is like a division of labor. If there are no mechanics, the cars will not run. If there are no fishermen, we will not eat fish. If there are no rice plantation workers, there will be no food, there will be no rice, or we might just end up exporting it. And I think now we should really cease exporting rice. I think this should be the real, how do you call it, the real food security that we've been advocating for quite a time, for quite a long time, but it has never been realized. So this is basically this is my thoughts about these projects, new projects that the European Union intends to start in the Gambia in collaboration with the Gambia government. There are many other areas that need to be explored, but these are the areas that I just highlighted, which is in the area of farming, in the area of fishing, in the area of livestock industry, in the area of tradesmanship, that is carpentry, mechanic, building and stuff like that. All these areas could really help our youths, our young people, get employment. And then the good thing about this is these areas can gain you self-employed. You can open your own business, and then also maybe even a family business, a family venture. All these things can happen, and it is going to create more wealth, and it is also going to ensure that our young people will not take that journey to risk their life on the Sahara Desert or the Mediterranean Sea heading to Europe. Sometimes when they get to Europe also, they find they kind of go through a lot of difficulties even before they can get their papers, not to think of starting work and helping themselves. So this is very important. Our new government, this is a new deal. I call it a new deal, and the government did promise that they are going to look into the affairs of the youths. So it is good news that this project is coming up. But let it not be all the other projects that we have seen before. When they come millions and millions of pounds or millions of dollars, at the end of the day, they can't show anything for it. You don't see the tangible results. You cannot see the tangible results of those projects. So I would like to also say this in the local language for those who cannot understand English, so that quickly I'll just summarize it quickly in the local language. mbadi ngolu mbal tentula mbal jayila mbe al konton na jumalum mbala fanan ko kunu nga fo nyamen doron European Union ye kodi bale di Gambia mansa kundala kodo me alon ko anyanta dunna ku jamalal kunna abiya wo fanan kono pour funding ke wala doku kuo aninke empower yo bar janim be dunna wo fon kono fan na mbadi ngolu na dindi ngol me alon ko be Italy men alon ko be Germany dolbe je wolbe Austria yenyin fonun ko nyin ko e daw jamaa en defon text nan nu ko ya mira ko European Union ye kodo men di Gambia mansa kundala wo kodo nyin wo mu ñeneti dron ko pour que tolu seyndi nan ke bondi nan Europe comme men yalon koy asylum dunde bari la asylum ni manna soto comme manna ni asylum ni soto doli wala mira yo bari be men koy ndile ma dron andum ni la fi la fanan ko man sakunda kata fana yewdula koy ndi wala nyinti na ntola mira roto wonte amanke woti ko do nyim fango amanke ko comme funding ke wol damalen bunda jamal lamu anyanta tala bunda jamal la anuna hakilo ba kannu ya jama bije wato men na EU yanyin kodol mutale e may dinna kabirin adama barona tale ina tanyin kodol nyinta ke dinna so kammala ngamira wala ya sabu ye ya bula sign so mbe meytan dila nyulla fanan na molla men yalon ko be Italy anin bankol kan men yalon ko tata surtout men yalon ko tata bakwela kaitan dila ko pour kamol seyndi EU to negotiate EU fon to negotiate la bari kamol seyndi ke bondi banku kata banku woka keno banku nim banku tema agreement olati ko misalo fela ko Germany ni ajibe itol Afghanistan mol mo jamalal bije men bot Afghanistan nata Germany asylum sik so ning German lafta mol sendila Afghanistan Germany le ning Afghanistan be kachala atakela ko EU le bita in Afghanistan kacha EU kamundala doron ko niko African Union amanke ko banku kilinti banku muang anin worowla wala be kafri nyola wala EU ning form so puruka na dindiwolu ke sondomo tenkundi wo kuonyinna bari nina rajibe nyindinewoli batatale desatole ta dol tata nim balela kata ka fota tubabu du andum fanan nyin election o men tambita ya kata bakele jamal bije ye bamanyolu famanyolu kumandi ani kotonyolu ani dokolu ka foye ko isa karto fay ya jamme boje bari ya jamme batamel la mol kan Gambia wala ya sabu nyindinewol jamabe kono me si tubabu du banko kan pour kata nyimba ka batay ngola aninka desato ma tilo dimba wulema kata tubabu du kata pour kata ila wululal makoy so lafraka nyindlan ko ndi madrom pour akana ke misunderstanding ti and misconception ti itolu tema anin Gambia la mansa kunda jama ni nyimbe kala buka akullo toke ka koindile lew ko mbenyindi la ko Spain ya ke nu nyame ye kododi ya jamela nu pura ye mol sendi nan inata o mol sendi nan ya jamme man o kododun ta dame mo malon bari nyimu kodileti me alon ko adunta ku abeduna ku jama balel ye kuma kilim foje womu nyineti dronko benyim project ko men kala Gambia surtout funding ke wala project ko nyin pour ka funding ke wol ma koy do ko nyin to o mu ñeneti dron pour menu be Gambia wol kana ta nyin silola comme misalo fela ka discourage kana pour mol kana ta nim ba kuela isaje ikata men nyini ba kué ikata men nyini Europe ni yo soto Gambia tumando itita that's the concept yo nimboda oto mbelafla fanan yenyi youth empowerment project men sign ten bari project jamalel sign bari ntelafta ka diam wala ko dinkra jamalel be Gambia men yanon ko mansa kundal men tambita nsavro nyi mansa kundal men botaje yaya yikuma jamalel foko e bewol kelale pour ka funding kewol makoy andum dulal bijele men yalon ko nimma sakunda bulodum o dulal ko ton tolla miraroto askeno wobe do ku jama bale create la wala nyinde ka be do ku jama bale bondila Gambia dingole follow na kombo ma la mo jamalle du tol soto je duta kankanol soto duta fewlu dul fanan ne munol ba jama kaaje o du tolu sama ika tinyale ikaje wato do abebuka wafino sometimes ni tata duta kurol yebe dutol jele be jolonding e tinya because iman storage fon soto iman dula soto be ndutol ma wala damen ke preserve ye ntola miraro to ni e juice factory soto na miraro to ni e juice factory lo Gambia asemo will killing employ nole funding ke mo will killing aso employ nole so ba yala ko ning wo juice factory lota ise duto process no jele duta juice ye soto no je ise nemuno process no jele fana mean ko nemuna juice wo ise combination o keno le fang different fruits ise mixture fana keno jele mean ko ase wafino Gambia banko kan andum fana nsa fana se wo export no le ngabondi na banko kan ka Guinea Bissau supply Guinea Conakry anin ka Mali kata Senegal nyol banina rajibe ntolu o dutol membe kombo ma fon la nin dinkral Senegal lel kana ke sang ni e sang ye samba Senegal ye da fenti ye murunde nam back o sometimes fay ka o duta kilon fon murunde nam back ntolia in kana wa fintolma sol mu kulleti man sa kunda nyanda ka jiber ke o kuwalla pour ka je ko na funding ke wolu ise dunno nyin kunu kono a satra do ko employment o nyin create and wobe mu defanan kele e bayela ko nyin menu tamu duta kurolti o isaje modul fon sita ye duta ye la kankan ye dutol keje wala nyin ditron ko sita nin ka kenebe membulu kata ka duto fenke because e balo na ko ninga duta few ke sain e mbena duto wa finolale ka nyin factory menu be factory nyin process nyin kan so bayala ko balo na ko market nyimbe jele o fanam fonse keno another employment le ese moja kankan ba soto ay mo employ wa molu employ men yalon ko be karala dutol jibonna wa bakala dutol tekea so bayala ko factory fele ay employment no create duta do kulal fane womu kilineti another area fanam beje wala nyindi dronko fita yal ni nyim fankol ni dara o jibe fanam moto de dal ni nyim fanko ni dara Gambia ni fita garejol ni tata je ika Senegal le taraje bake so wo fana mu aerial ti meanon ko nyanta jeji bela ndu ni tata Senegal ika je le garage kilimo ika je ko mo clean kata mo isaje garage kilimo mo clean tamo garage oti barata fe isaje wo mari ate mo talulu nyong ta do ko wala aka men jo karfa jola so ni misalo fela ko ngo gare tangnon so do Gambia gare jo me alon ko gare killing aka mo hanna mo tan sabale employ sai wo mu jellati mo keme saba funding ke kemo saba fela do ko soto me alon ko ye karfa jo londae wul fana mu aerialti ibe mansa kundabe mol ma ko no la nyaadi le woto wol ngo dinkiral fana fole angale kangoto wolen ko bari nga GTTI sotole ni men yalon ko ilafta katani technical kulke ni jita school for example high school isitano ji man sakunda se mako inole ye fanko dila ko katichal fanke nyame eta GTTI ni dara GTTI yenyin karanje atra GTTI fana ya revamp wala nyindi ko ye masingol sambaje jorangol sambaje ticha kendol sambaje menu bi karandila modern technology la masingol kadde da nyame sa ni motol be jibe be computerized tale ni materialol be keje yol keje karandi wala yol londo soto yo londo damma fana buka do ko di molade ibe you have to create something nga suggestion men soto to walem ko mansa kunda se miral keno le fon itol fon e bank ni yele o wamba is in commercial bank ni le finance do ko keno le ye wadde ntolla miraroto memu ga foko the youth fund isa commandi no to la bari the youth fund the concept ni momenti wala nyindi ronko ni wo funding ki wol jita GTTI andu lafte fansung garage sol yelela mansa kunda sa fo no en ko ye business plan nati ko ilafta muna business plan ti wo business plan ni wala ba determine na fo mansa kunda nyanda ka kodo dila priete la garage ni yele iba yala ko o fanamu aerial ti me alon ko ise ma ko ino nganyem fanam fuko Department of State for Youth ye entrepreneurship development scheme sotole wol fanan senying funding kiolu ma ko ino le ke track down kaji be ibe mun development ne ke kan anin ke help to diversify ila cool mbodo do fanan coming nga fita yala for but that goes for the same goes for carpenter the same goes for mechanics building many alon ko machines many alon ko ka bullol ke will build us. The same thing applies to all of them. And in Gambia jibe saying real estate is big business. Molbe bullo la dorong. So you'll be mu area lelti many alon ko funding ke wol se ma ko daming. Ngadula do fanan kacha men keta fishing industry te. Nduniye woto fanan jibe jama Senegal le siata je. Ni dara na ni badalla Senegal le kata ka fishing ke. Nga miral doke nga miraro to asken o kuwe wara bake bari miro le ndron miro ka konyi mira wala nyinti ko masa kunda se nyin kulumbal fon sannole adala ka jaw yala bari se kulumba sannole me alon ko inin funding ke woli ka mena contract is a cooperative funding ke a cooperative union de danole ni masa kunda contract ko sign masa kunda nyin kulumba dila so ye mol employ e kata ka fishing ke e kane ka wafi Gambia dingol ma ni okay ese karado manjo fonni nyin jo nyimbang kulungo nyin sake tati ni okete tati itul fon se mare fon la kulungo la fondin ke wol fon se mare fon la kulungo la ka mol employé o fana mu kudol do fana mbije ese nyin kulundingul sanno mol yen again ni business plan soto ese kulundingul sanno mol yen mol fondin ke wol fon leta eta la fishing ke ni men soto je itul fanan ise la family dimbal balundi wala wobe Gambia banko fon la nutrition fenkala wala fisata nyindi dronko Senegal kana ika nyo muta na bal kono ikana wafi mfangol ma daja wala anim fana ikana dul fon bije ikana nyew nyin dulta ke samba Senegal yul bemu area leti na Gambia mantra nyinlu mantra nyin cool explore kan comme anafani a mantra talle mu nyum fengolti bari mantra nafa kan ko inyanta nafa la nyame diamo meta kula man sakunda men botaje kuma jamal lelfo bari hanisain ni ajente ko kesema mbono jabato kado nin kese botano jabato den dun nyum funding ke obe te ba tela kata tubabdu kata nyenindiro la je nga dula do fanam fo men mu livestock ti wo fanam area di me anon ko nyanda mira la je ni ajibe banna salolu kaje sajiolu mol ka sajiol maleandile dol ka kudi jama soto je saji kilon kata wilisay saji do bidanite saji tang soto wamu jellati wili tang say 80,000 ni ajibe civil servant dol ila yearly payment man 80,000 si so nite saji nani saji say ite wole balundino sawo kono ite inata yo wafi askeno yela sango la baluo fon workout wodo so hanite man do kuke ibaje la balunya alhamdulillah o sono yatale andum saji maleando ataman ke kuti meyan ka kolayata so nyulu be mu area te bariaje nyulu force molu ma ko ye train ya itandila ko nyinna fa karle se soto no nyin ku karito ba ite katra siri ya mira ko ite amira nyame mobe ba amira kan wonyama ata to wonyama o mari ma understand wonyama fan so bayra ni man sakunda dadu wol kono Nigeria nyin siata je bakele itol life industry nyin ay sembo soto je poultry fananiaji ben tolu nkan sise jamala bonde nan banko e bantala ni ajibe nkanyi sisi wol menu domo teng ike bondi na banko e bantalale andu ni ajibe buka timiya bake bari mfanan masimu ike penkule safanya me ike penkule ka boro lel dila lokun saba sisi wol ndol fana nsanyin kenole wala nyindi ronko nga research center yele me alonko comme nari sifa kanyi animal crossbreed wala nyindi ronko ke jibe kanyin sisolu wamba sajiolu wamba balu wamba ninsolu ke jibe ke study ke jibe ke crossbreed ka je ko ise keno nyaadi ka yirwa ke yirwandi no nyamen pour ba jala ko fana mu kuleti me alon ko nimmenu dun taw business o kono esaje tel fanante boyr ku soto laje ebe nafada male soto laje ni si kilimo sain ladulo kata fo wuli muani lulu wili tanni lulu so nimmem fanan dun taw area la ite nin so lulle beta bulu wonin si worole beta bulu yo ko nyim fenkendi ka wonin so wafi o fanan afela ela samfula o sanna san saba baluo nyin afela o be sono yande so nyul be momenti drong abenna baluo lel sono yande la official doyata moltile molle siata officialty mbete sino la nyin official kono so nil lafta banko e yurwa ay jama fa banko la nyato ta ala productivity abuka ke office kono aka kenyin aerial ton kanyin aerial men fo wolen manufacturing industry wolen production sector wallel ka banko la basically wala ka banko la economy nyin ka sembe tuyandi ka warandi fanan and wala ka banku dingol fanan na balunya nyinyandi tubabol sa men standard of living ñulu bemuk area lati men yalon ko ñi mansa kunda se dunno jele ngani moy ñi manke kukuta tin kala men foten mansa kunda dol men bota je ñul lel fonye be ñinni nekala bari a kodol nata maje so ñin kodi do men nata mba fula ñi mansa kunda e drong abe kana ke work support abe kana ke training ti abe kana ke traveling ti ay ke real investment ti ay ke e kodo dundi dulal me alon ko it will be tangible and productivity be fentilaje funding ke wol bi jele men alon ko e be pareren do ko yo nimba kum fala funding ke wol fana e ko ne jam fo se jam fana fo mba fo funding ke wol fana ko it is one thing ka fo ko do ko man so do banko kan wala sabu mbita bari it is another pro allié pare fana ka do ko ke wala nyindiro nyin aerial menge fu nge fanketen amanke ko nim men ka du ko ke nyindlanto ita man kumaya ndol betu babu du jam men to ten men yalan ko kanyin sila do ko wolke ikawol wolka ko do men so do ka kan siti aka ko sodum abuka wosoto so abe wala nyama andu wollel ka banko yurwandi wala ka banko develop mba fala funding ke wol fane mbal support lalde mbal fanke la bari al fonsem famma ko fanan nga pare fanan to take the challenge ka make sure ko nyindo kul men yalon ko mansakunda nyim mansakunda ya lahidi walla ila campaign wato anun sain fanan efele funding soto sain ta fala ko koditije sain it is how are they going to do it ibenyin kala nyadile which areas are they going to give priority to sa mbe sila mbe jibela ke jibe wala baro kamala janni be parela adul fanan aliyal fanan parendi kanyi tandi ko ni al kumandi kala al nanga nga do koke al fané song aleta ngata nga do koke so badi ngol nyul lamu laftana la nyinal ko kanyim bonino do make a disclaimer amanke ko ntol nata janne trying to dictate we don't come here to dictate the new government. This is just areas, it is just our thinking that these are areas that are not explored or that are untapped in the Gambia or not sufficiently tapped, if you like. And then we will just want to highlight them so that probably the new government would like to get into it. Probably they have the same ideas in mind, but I think there is no harm also highlighting it. Left men for the wrong welling tolman na jang ka fo nyimman sakunda kutoy ko anyanta menkela men mun wrong nyimu dulal leti dinkral leti me alon kon tol fana ngamira ko nyimu aerial ti men nyanta ka jibe bari hanna tan ko man sakunda bulodun je bara ma bulodun je ko anyanta bulodun na je nyamen andu ning na miraro to ni e bulodun je kendake wobe fondinke jamale makoyla andu abe preso fanan talala mansa kunda nyin kanne bari nyi mansa kunda preso membe laringa kan asiyata bakele expectations are very high andu doku jamale be je mealon ko anyanta kala badi ngolu mbal tentula mbal jayla nata drong pruka nyin kachala ke nemolu ala baraka bake kaydiamo mandia tumando askeno mangdol foku fan bari ningo mistake ko kay alse yam fanye sa hakilo kanya na hakilo la kanya wala wati baninga men foku woto mu ala demarol ti ala baraka kotake juma mubarak